Hello. Hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, yeah.
That's
How's,
good.
how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you. Um, your video to me, it looks a little dark on your left side.
Mm, okay, let me try and move. Because the light is on, but it's not that good.
All right. Okay. Is it possible you could face the window, maybe?
Is it a bit better or not really?
That's a bit better. Yeah, that's fine. That's a bit better. All right. Well, thank you for agreeing to talk to me.
Yeah.
Uh, so let me just do a little intro. So welcome everybody back to, I don't even know what I'm calling this yet, to be honest with you. At the moment it's just conversations. But my tradition is to ask the guests to introduce themselves. So please, would you introduce yourself so everybody knows who you are?
So I'm Albertina. Um, I guess me and I were family. Um, so Paulina, his wife, is my cousin. So we've known each other for a while. And yeah, since we're talking about the topic of health,
Yeah.
I thought I'd get involved because I have a long-term health condition, which we'll talk about. But yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, let's jump straight in. So, how old are you now?
So I'm 18. I turned 18 like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, okay. Congratulations, finally an adult. So when you moving out?
Um, because uni, I'm staying at home. I
Yeah,
would have been moving out,
yeah.
but we'll see.
Fair enough. Well, okay. So you said about a chronic medical condition. So what is it? Um, and can you talk to me about like, so obviously as you've gotten older, you've had a greater understanding of it. So if you want to
Mhm.
talk to people about what it is now, and again, the different stages, like when you heard about it for the first time, and as you've understood more in detail.
Mm. I think, okay, so I have lupus, but I have SLE because there are two types. So I have SLE, which is just systemic lupus, meaning that it's across my body. It's not just my skin, it's all my organs, everything's affected. And it's an autoimmune condition. So that's, in short, that's just a condition where your immune system attacks its own body.
Mm.
Um, and the effects of that vary. Like sometimes it's just, okay, I have a weak immune system, I get sick. Sometimes it might be that my digestion is troubling, things like that. And then sometimes it's more serious, it can affect the heart, it can affect your kidneys. So for me, the main bits that is affected for me is just my kidneys, my skin, sometimes like my digestion and stuff. But as you said, over time, it's like it varies, I think, because you have your good times
Mm.
where symptomatically nothing's really going on.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
you have times when everything's flaring up, like blood tests are just regular now because they need to sort out treatment and things like that. So it's a very controllable but up and down condition.
yeah. Okay. Now, obviously, so you're 18 now. How
Yeah.
old were you when you got the diagnosis?
So like 11. Yeah.
11. Okay. And how long do you think? Because lupus is rare. So,
Mm,
as a doctor, like anybody who comes in with symptoms, I'm not thinking lupus straight away because there are more common things than lupus. So,
yeah.
how long did you have symptoms for before somebody clicked and said, actually, this might be lupus? And what were those symptoms?
So this is A long story, which I think most lupus patients that their story is long. But so I think I'd say I was showing symptoms at like 6. I've
Okay.
always had eczema, and I've always had just trouble with digestion, getting sick. I remember like every Monday before school, I'd go to the GP because I'm sick again or something. Then it would be I
When you
have a
sorry,
yeah,
when you say sick, are you talking about like nausea?
yeah,
Or
nausea and loads of skin rashes. Yeah, vomiting, skin rashes.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
would be one of the two.
Okay.
And yeah, and then it would sometimes it'd be that I'd have a urine infection. I think that was the first like red flag kind of, because why am I getting a urine infection? It's weird. It's just weird for a child to be getting that and as regularly as I was getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think it was just something that I just dealt with. It didn't impact my life really. It was just annoying at that point. But then I'd say when I started high school, yeah, that year before my diagnosis kind of was really bad. Like just a lot of pain, a lot of joint pain,
Mm-hmm.
swelling in my face, in my joints. Um, yeah, and it was just like I remember the day that there was a day where I couldn't walk, I couldn't get up.
Right.
My
Okay.
legs were swollen and I was in a lot of pain. And I remember at that point it was serious. Like I needed to go to hospital.
Mm.
So we went to a private hospital. Um, and at first they thought I had like juvenile arthritis.
Yep.
I think a lot of people with lupus, they show symptoms of that too, because your joints are swelling and they're in pain. So it's probably that. So we went there. Um, they said no, they don't think it's arthritis, but they referred me to a different hospital, a different private hospital.
Yep.
And it was a hospital where I got diagnosed with lupus there.
So was it a rheumatologist that saw you? Like who? What was the?
The first doctor was a rheumatologist. She
Yeah.
said it might be arthritis, but it might be lupus because she had experience of that. So then I think she sent me to another rheumatologist as well, but he specialized in like autoimmune conditions, so he could tell it was lupus.
Right. Okay. Okay. So talk to me about the mindset of a young person getting ill all the time. Because I know you said you just dealt with it, but like, did it affect you every day? Did it make you feel different to to your friends? Because presumably they weren't dealing with the same issues.
Yeah, so I think looking back, it was quite difficult because so when I like just a normal kid, bubbly kid. I did ballet for like 6 years and dancing. I liked singing. But I remember when my lupus was really bad, when I was being diagnosed, was when I had to stop dancing. Um, I stopped like sports and stuff. And it was just hard. It was just confusing mostly because I knew that it wasn't anything I had done. It's
Mm.
not that my parents had done anything. I knew it wasn't really preventable. Like, yeah, it wasn't in anyone's hands. I knew that. But because I was starting high school and like, not, I didn't really know who I was as what I liked as a person. And so to start high school in pain and knowing sometimes in like PE lessons, I'm sitting out and I'm going to hospital appointments and I don't even know how to explain why I'm going to them.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just it can be draining and confusing, I think. And yeah, it was, I wouldn't say it was really bad. Like I think my experience was really positive because of the friends I had.
Okay.
And yeah, the people around me definitely changed changed the outcome, but it was still draining, still confusing.
Yeah. So, what kind of positive things did your friends and family do to make it easier to deal with?
I think so starting at school, once we knew the diagnosis and like knew what to say, it was much easier to explain to teachers, um yeah, just people I come in contact with that this is what's happening. and there's some things I can't do, but there are some things I can do, and I will let you know how I'm feeling and what's going on. So at school, yeah, teachers knew if I needed time to go to a different room, or I needed time off for appointments. It wasn't like I was being interrogated all the time, which
Yeah.
is what
Okay.
can happen to a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm,
the diagnosis gave you some freedom for people
definitely.
to see you. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, just kind of just not awkwardness, but just a bit of comfortability, because it's not that I'm having to answer question after question. Like, I just say, this is my condition. These
Yeah.
are the things that happen,
I
and
suppose
then we go for.
this is what I mean. So before the diagnosis, so for a number of years, you still have the symptoms of lethargy or pain or nausea or what we thought was eczema and stuff like that. So in that time before the diagnosis, what was that like in terms of looking at yourself as a young person, looking to my friend who doesn't have these things? How did you like? Was your identity affected? At all?
I think because I was so young before, it wasn't as bad as
Okay.
I'd think. So it was like, sometimes I would compare myself to my friends. Like, why can't I run like them? Why can't I do these things? Why am I always sick? But I
Yeah.
think because I was so young, I didn't shrug it off. It still made me upset, but there was always something else for me to do. Um, and I think my family, they made sure that they didn't make it, not make it a thing, but didn't make it a thing that stopped me from doing things. So
Right.
yes, I'm sick right now. Yeah, I'm tired and I'm in pain, but that's okay. You rest today, tomorrow we're still going out, I
Yeah.
think. So, but because I was so young, that I wasn't a teenager, I think like thinking about who I was and what I liked, it wasn't really as big of a question
Yeah.
as when I was in high school and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, okay. So we've gone through being young. You're now in high school. You have a diagnosis, um, and having good and bad days, right?
Yeah.
So talk me through the like. So I know for myself, since the stroke, like I'm having good and bad days as well,
Mm,
and I know that, like, say, on a day that I'm having a good day, like I'm never a day without symptoms, but on a day when I'm having a good day, when I get symptoms, it's almost like, oh yeah, I've had a stroke.
yeah. I remember it again.
Yeah, and on a really bad day, I suppose I'm asking myself, oh, like, are things moving in the wrong direction,
hmm
or am I just having a bad day?
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, definitely a lot of that. I think it either goes two ways. It's either, okay, I have a bad day, it's a bad day, I know there's going to be a good day, or like you said, you're just wondering, is this another flare up? Is it coming back? And I think because I have my lupus affects my kidneys, like even right now, it's affecting my kidneys.
Mm.
But with the kidneys, there's not always symptoms showing
Okay.
as early. Yeah, so if there's mild inflammation, you might not actually realize that there's a problem with your kidneys. So it's only when like sometimes I'll have a bad day, I'll think, oh, okay, it's nothing. But then with my kidneys, it might be less often these days, but when it's bad, it's really bad.
Okay.
And I think it's hard because, yeah, I kind of have to monitor what's going on. I need to keep track of what's going on, yeah. But at the same time, I'm not a doctor, so it's hard to like judge my pain and judge how I'm feeling and
Yeah. Yeah.
see
Okay.
what I should do. Sometimes it's just hard, yeah.
Even as a doctor, I'll be honest with you, there's times when I'm having symptoms and I'm thinking, like, I know one of my friends is a stroke consultant. Like, should I call him? Nah,
Yeah.
it's fine. I think there's a natural, depending on what kind of person you are, you're either going to make it the thing and always be thinking about it, or trying. And I think
Yeah.
I am very much like, I'm not trying to let it beat me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can become everything, or it can be something that's happened to me, and you know, let's keep it moving.
Mm. Yeah, I agree with that. But then sometimes you find like just in that battle of, okay, I'm like, you're fighting your own condition, but
Yeah,
really, why am I fighting? Like, who? Because I'm not going to win by getting angry or by ignoring it.
yeah.
So really, what am I fighting? Sometimes you just have to find the balance. Yeah.
So on a day when you're feeling not good, so physically you're not feeling good, or
Mhm.
maybe mentally you're not feeling good, how do you pick yourself up?
I think changing how I'm thinking, that can be either doing something I enjoy. I think because I like reading, I like singing, music, and even when I was in school, school really distracted me, like,
Okay.
because I knew, okay, this condition I can't always control, but I can control my grades, I can control what
Okay.
I'm reading. And so I think there's so much like joy in just finding things I can control. Yeah, even if it's small, like no matter how small it is, just finding those things that this is for me, this is what I'm doing today,
Mm.
it really helps. And then obviously I can't ignore it. Like if I'm in pain, I need to, okay, relax, sit down, like whatever it is I need to do, I don't ignore it, but at the same time it's good to distract myself a bit.
Yeah. Okay. So like the serenity prayer, Lord, um, what was it? Grant me the wisdom to know or the things I can change, or I don't even know it, but you know,
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
so like, did you consciously do that? Did you have any teaching or training with that, or is that something that you've just realized this is how to deal?
um I think training, yes, but also with faith and just within myself, like one of the lines, yeah, courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's so important because I can't change, yes, I can't change the fact that I have this condition, um and I can't control how people look at me. Like sometimes one thing that really hit me was um even seeing family, let's say, they saw me a week after I came out of hospital. So I'm at my worst, like
yeah,
on outside and inside. And that's what they remember of me.
yeah,
Like they remember me being sick. Not that I feel weak, but it's even painful to see them in pain
yeah, yeah,
because I'm sick.
yeah,
So sometimes it frustrates me, but I have to know, okay, you can't control how people see you. You can't control this condition per se, but you can make yourself feel better. You can eat better. You can still exercise. Like no one's telling you not to do these things,
yeah,
but you just have to approach it differently. And
yeah,
I think knowing that, okay, God is in control at the end of the day of what's going on. So me worrying and me trying to fight it is actually not helping anything.
yeah.
So yeah, taking that approach to it, knowing that yeah, it's not as big, it's not your fight to fight, basically.
Okay,
You still need to control it, but it's not, at the end of the day, it's not your fight. Yeah.
okay. Um, so on a practical level, like how often are you having blood tests, and like are you taking medication? So for me, I am taking medication daily. I think I'm on 3 different tablets I'm taking every day, and I've started taking some like supplements as well from a health point of view. These are things that I didn't have to do before. So what's like a day in a life or a month in a life or for you, like in terms of tablets or blood tests and whatnot?
So I've been taking medication since 2013. I think there's only really been like 1 week where I was off it. But this medication changes. It changes according to how I'm feeling. So
Mm-hmm.
right now, it's a busy time because I'm on new treatment, and the treatment is like IV drip. So I have to go in and get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also on tablets as well. So I say now I'm on like 3 tablets, supplements like you said, and then that drip. And then with blood tests, it's like every 2 weeks right now.
Wow.
But usually when everything's stable, it's more like every 6 months I go in for a checkup, maybe every 3 months blood test or every 6 months. Yeah. It's good usually.
And is that like the with all the information that we have right now, this is what we're expecting indefinitely. At the very least, every 6 months, you're going to have a blood test or a review by somebody for the rest of your life.
Um I think annually is a like more.
Also, when things get stable.
Yeah, when things get stable, it's more like an annual thing.
Yeah, okay.
I think also because I'm growing, like things change, things are going up and down. So I know people, I'm part of a young people support group,
Okay.
and a lot of them that are like 20, 25, for them it's more annual.
Okay.
It's not like they're going in every 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
it does depend on how they're doing in terms of their health as well.
Okay. So that support group, was that early on in the journey, or is that something you discovered?
I
Like,
think, yeah, I'm a very like, when I find out when I find out about something, I need to know about it. I need to read about it. So when I first found out about the diagnosis, I read a lot about it, and I found a group a while ago. But what happened was I went to a meeting, one of their meetings, and it was for adults, which I didn't realize before then. So
yeah,
it's for adults. And when I went there, I think that was a really low point because I just saw adults,
yeah,
but it was like some of them had walking sticks, some of them you could just tell weren't feeling too good. And what in the presentation they were just talking about just crazy, not crazy things, but to me as a child it was crazy, but I was like just saying, oh, it can be hard to find life insurance. And it was just, yeah, it was just wild for me.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it didn't help
Okay.
because of my expectations. Not that they didn't help, but I was just expecting something different. But then I found the
What were you
young
expecting?
people. I was just expecting like people to have like testimonies, like okay, we had this condition, but now look at me.
Yeah,
um I'm doing this and I'm doing this. I just thought, yeah, I just came for uplifting encouragement.
yeah, 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 yeah.
um but when I found the young people's section, it was really good because people my age doing different things. Some of them were at uni, some of them were working, some of them writing books. Like it was just actual normal people, and it really helped.
Old people are normal too.
No, no, not like that. Normal people, but as in people I could relate to. Yeah, let me not put it like that. People I could relate to.
All right, okay. Compared to you, I'm old, so but
No.
okay. Now, so how do you think you would have coped if not for the young people lupus support group?
I think it would have been really lonely, like because, like you said, lupus is rare, and I think because I hear about it all the time, I don't think it's rare. But
Mm,
if I'm talking to someone, I realize, wait, they don't know. This is the first time they're hearing the word.
yeah,
So if I didn't have the support group, it'd be more lonely, and I I'd be so uncertain about, oh, this new medication. I don't know anyone who's taken it.
yeah,
I don't know what's going on with my kidneys. Like, yeah, it'd just be really stressful, I think.
yeah. Okay. You talked about like faith and stuff like that before, and so I remember he reached out to me. I can't remember, at my one of the videos I posted about people coming and saying, "Oh, you're feeling better, right?" And your response was, "People often want to come and say that so they can tick you off their prayer their prayer list." So, from a faith point of view, what's been your experience of dealing with lupus, having your own personal faith, and interacting in a community of faith?
I think faith has been like the thing that's held me together. So with my church, with my family, obviously I know everyone's been praying for me, and there's so much power in that prayer, and it's just nice. It's just good to have a hope, I think,
Yeah.
because if you look at what's going on, you look at your appointments, there's not that you can't really find much hope if you're not looking for it. But if I'm praying and I'm thinking and believing that there will be a turnaround, then that hope is there. Like you with the prayer thing, I think sometimes um how should I put this? Sometimes we forget that healing is real.
Yeah.
It can take a while, but healing is real.
Mm.
And so, yes, I'm praying for me to get through this, but I have to keep looking forward to a point where this can go. And there's been cases of people in remission. It's not impossible.
Mm.
So I think that's something I'm starting these days as well. I'm training myself to think like, because we're not just praying through to
Yeah.
get through today, but we're praying for tomorrow. Yeah. I think that hope has really helped me.
Okay. Okay. And in terms of like, have there been any sort of specifically positive or negative interactions with like church or people saying things with the faith umbrella?
I wouldn't say negative in my church or anything, but um I think positive times would be like just praying together. I remember someone came to my house. It was just unexpected. They just came, they prayed with me. And because I was like 11 at this point, I was unbothered by it. But she was just saying that, you know, there's so much for me in my future.
Mm.
This condition doesn't define me, things like that. And
Yeah.
it's really encouraging.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I would say the negative experience wouldn't be that people are telling me that I'm not praying enough or anything like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it would be, let's say I'm coming to church and I just feel bad within myself.
Mm.
And let's say someone calls out my name, like just about healing and prayer, it'll just be like, oh, yeah, I know I have this condition, but I didn't want to be the limelight today.
Right.
But
Okay. Okay.
yeah, but at the same time, it's good. It's good to have to be on people's thoughts and be in their prayers. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I'm thinking a lot of thoughts about these kinds of things these days because you're right. I think maybe I don't know, 70s, 80s. There's lots of, especially in the evangelical church. I think God really needed us to understand that actually, guys, I can heal. You know, so
Yeah.
there was lots of talk about faith and healing and stuff like that, and I feel that people have understood that now. But in my personal opinion, I think sometimes we've used that as a reason to not live healthy lives. Because there hasn't been as much conversation in the church about actually, eating McDonald's every day. It's not healthy. Fine,
Mhm.
God could heal you of the consequences of that, but there are better choices. Have you heard of vegetables? Or fruit? And I think that's my take on it. And I do think that when I was younger, I do think that I probably thought it was a weaker faith or a cop out to be like, oh, God help me to go through it.
Mhm.
But I suppose as opposed to saying God heal me from it. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
as I'm getting older, I'm realizing actually, so faith is faith, and how you apply your faith is between you and God. And some
Mhm.
people are very much like, I'm not, what I'm believing is this and it's astronomical or whatever. And some people are like, I don't need to get through today. And and I think I now realize that it was wrong of me to be putting a value on what they're believing for. If that makes any sense. Okay,
Yeah.
so I hear you have a podcast.
Yeah. I'm taking a break, but yeah, I do.
Okay, tell me about the podcast and why you decided to do it.
So it's called Living With. I started it because I wanted to share stories, not just about lupus, but just, yeah, stories and my perspective on things, because I felt like there were a lot of news podcasts and podcasts in general, but
Mm.
I would like half agree on what they're saying, half not agree.
Yeah.
And so I felt like, okay, let me make my own, because I'd seen people make theirs, so I made my own. And I had like different themes. Like one of them was about my lupus. Some of them were about music and news and racism. Um, and it was really good to just talk about the lupus, even though I wasn't talking to anyone, and
Yeah.
I did get feedback, but it was good to put it into words,
Okay.
mostly for myself.
Mm.
Yeah, because although I was, yes, I'm saying this is my lupus, I'm talking about it, but it it kind of took a weight off my shoulders. Like, it's not a secret, and it's not hurting me right now. I can still make a podcast. I can still do these things. So it was
Yeah.
just good to talk about it.
Okay. So how can people find it?
So it's on YouTube, on SoundCloud, on Instagram. If you put living with dot podcast, you'll find it there. I
Yeah.
think I really need to get back to it, because the reason why I took a break was that I just wanted to live a little, to get more stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think I'm ready to make a comeback.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Um, what was I going to say? I had a really good question. I was going to ask about. So yeah, sort of for the podcast for you seemed to be cathartic. Just talking about it itself was
Yeah.
good.
Mm.
Um, I had a question. I can't remember it now.
Was it about the podcast or something different?
It was something related to it. I can't remember. Oh, so talk to me practically. So somebody wants to start a podcast. Like, how did you? Like, did you have to have equipment? Did you have the equipment already? What?
I had the equipment already because I make music as well.
Okay.
So I had the microphone. Um, then what did I do? Then I just recorded, edited with Audacity. Nothing complex, just making sure that any noise is gone or anything.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then I started uploading on SoundCloud. But I think most people would use Anchor FM because it's easier to just put on Spotify and other things that way,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I didn't know before. But yeah, so if anyone's starting, try and start on Anchor FM because it
So
will make it easier.
spell that
ANCHOR and .fm. They have an app and online stuff.
if you want
And
to.
yeah,
Okay.
if you want to start, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
So
yeah.
you're gonna get back in it. Yeah, okay.
Hmm.
Um, it's like it's on the periphery of of my. We'll
Just
keep
keep
talking. I'm,
feeling, yeah.
I'm sure it'll come. Okay, so with the I know. So again, so I know for myself, there was a struggle, not a struggle, but there was a time of transition where I was like, so I considered myself healthy, and now I am in a position where I have had a significant medical issue and I'm diagnosed with something that's a chronic medical issue. So I've got hypertension and I've had a stroke. And I suppose there was some transitioning in terms of like, okay, so this is who I am now. You know, was there ever a time where you know it was a struggle for you to be like every day? You know, some people have a cold or they might have an infection or and they have a chance to have that, deal with it, and move on and go back to normal.
Mm.
You know, did you ever have any issues where you was like, oh, I wish I didn't?
Yeah, definitely. I think um sometimes it would just be like, yeah, I just wish I didn't have to go through this every day.
Mm.
But then sometimes it would be like bigger, bigger feelings like, how am I gonna do uni? Um, I want to move countries. I want to go on holiday. How can I do that if I need medication? And
Mm.
yeah, just so many big plans that you feel like it's not gonna happen, or they're just being ruined because of this
Yeah.
long-term condition. Yeah.
So how do you like? What do you do to deal with it?
Hmm. I think hmm, I think it really helped when I found out about more people that had lupus. Um, because yes, there were stories of remission and stuff, but there were also stories like Selena Gomez, the singer, she has lupus. Seeing other people that had it and were just they were still living their lives.
Yeah.
It encouraged me, but I think it also takes time. Um, because if you asked me 6 months, or if you told me, no, 6 months after my diagnosis, or even a year, that yeah, you can still live your life, you can still move away, you can still do, I wouldn't, I'd just be like, okay. But today, if you told me that, I'd be like, yeah, and I know that.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
confident in that. So I think it takes time, and you need to give it time to settle in, give it time to get used to it. But yeah, don't let it stop you from um doing the things that you like,
Okay.
planning things. Yeah.
And let's say you had a time machine and you could go and speak to your 11-year-old self. What would you say?
um I'd say that what you're feeling right now is temporary, especially because I don't know what it was, but back then I used to go to hospital a lot more. um so it was much worse than it is now. So I'd say, yeah, this is temporary, but also that there are things that you can do, and you shouldn't, not in a discouraging way, but sitting down and not doing anything is not going to make you feel better, and it's not going to make your condition better either.
Okay.
Like, I know you're in pain, but you can still exercise, and exercise is so important.
Mm.
Eating healthily is so important, whether or not you had this condition. So keep keep going at it. And I think um what, like you said, with health and stuff, before this, yeah, I was young, but I didn't really care about exercise or eating healthily or anything. But now it's made me real, like I can feel a difference when I eat healthily, when I do exercise, when I sleep properly. Whether that's because of my condition added on to that, I don't know. But yeah, just remember there are things in your control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a level of awareness at the very least, because of everything you have to deal with. I was having a conversation with a friend just today, and basically we were saying that a lot of people in the late teens or early 20s don't realize that they're not going to be 18 or 22 indefinitely.
Hmm?
So actually, are we as a society talking to people at that age and saying you need to start acting in a way now that it's going to make it easier for your 40-year-old body to function? you know
Mm-hmm.
I know that, I mean, I don't think I was unfit, but I wasn't particularly health conscious. I suppose I took a lot of it for granted. um,
Yeah.
I, I wasn't really dealing with anything or aware I was dealing with anything. And in hindsight now, I do wonder what might have been had I been intentional about health.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons I'm having these conversations, because looking at me, looking at you wouldn't have looked at us and be like, oh, this person has this, or has dealt with this, and you can't always see what somebody else is dealing with under the surface. Um, and there's no way to predict, or faith doesn't make you immune to
Yeah.
these things. So let's be intentional about making good health choices.
Mm.
Okay, so you said you make music. Do you write music?
Yeah.
Okay, and
Um,
have you released anything?
yeah, like 2 weeks ago I released an EP. on
Oh, wow.
SoundCloud. It's called, it's so weird talking about this because in April, like when lockdown started, I was just writing and this is all in my head. So to see it on my phone, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
weird. Yeah, it's nice, but it's weird.
yeah.
But
Okay.
anyway, it's called Summer's Over. Yeah, check it out. SoundCloud.
Yeah,
If
okay.
you, my name, like my username is ALBRTNA. So it's my name, but no E and no I.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't use SoundCloud. But
Yeah.
is there a way to know when people are listening?
Is there a way to know?
So like, do you know whether
I can
somebody
see
else
the
has
I can see the likes, but I can't tell like
how many?
right now you're on your phone listening to it or
Okay,
anything.
okay, okay, cool, cool. But are you getting feedback?
Yeah, yeah, good feedback.
What people saying?
Um, I think not shock, but because I don't talk about these things a lot and I
Yeah,
don't post music all the time.
yeah,
So to see like a project that I thought out and I put my emotion into, I think my friends were just really like, wow, like we knew you could do this, but
yeah.
wow, really
Okay.
nice to see. Yeah.
When I put
Um,
the video, I'll try and find it and put the link down.
yeah.
So again, practically, did you do the producing? Can you play any instruments? Like, how did you actually do it? Nuts and bolts.
Ooh, so I produced all of the songs apart from one, because it's a remix and I just got instrumental from somewhere. But I wrote all of it, I sang all of it. Um, Instruments, I'm not like, I knew how to play the keyboard a bit. I knew how to play the guitar when I was younger, but yeah, I think it's hard to, it sounds so bad, but when you like music, I
Yeah,
think you're just willing to do whatever it takes to get the sound you want. So
yeah,
what I mean by that is like with producing, I I wouldn't say I'm even a producer, but because I know what I wanted it to sound like,
yeah.
I
Okay.
went at it basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Well done. A lot of people have thought about it and haven't even got to the point of putting pen to paper or finger to key. So well done. What would you say your musical inspirations are? Who?
Who? Who? Hmm. Okay. It's a mixture in terms of like time and era. I really like Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
I really like Party Next Door. I don't think you know who he is. Party Next Door. But do you know Drake?
Yeah.
He's just like, I guess would you say they're friends, like they work at the same record label. And I think that I like those two artists because yes, they've made like legendary music, good music, but they've always just stuck to what they know and stuck to what they liked.
Mm.
Because sometimes you see artists, not to go into it too much, but they try everything
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then they realize that what they started off doing was better. But when they get to that point,
yeah,
they've lost their true fans and they just,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And I think with those two artists and a lot of others, um, they've just stuck to what they like, the sound that they've known.
yeah.
Yeah, there's so many artists though. Yeah.
Okay. And so if you had to liken your sound to somebody that we know, who would it be?
Mm. Whoa. I think in terms of melody, I would say it's more like Janae Aiko. She's like an R&B singer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I've never tried to compare myself to someone, so this is
Yeah.
hard. In terms
Yeah.
of lyric, yeah, in terms of lyrics, and it'd be more poetry. And I think Little Sims, okay, Little Sims, she's a UK rapper. I
Mhm.
think I like the way she puts that pen to paper, the way she puts her lyrics. So I wouldn't say I sound like her, but I guess she's inspired what I
Yeah.
sound like. So Yeah.
I mean, I think it's. I mean, even the premise of the question, like, why do you have to sound like somebody else? I suppose, like,
Yeah, that's true.
a lot of stuff when you somebody new comes out, they're like, oh, if you put, Missy Elliott and da 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 together, then you've got,
It's the new this, yeah.
yeah,
Nah.
exactly, yeah, yeah, yeah. So is that something you want to do something with, or is it right now, is it a hobby?
Yeah, I think I want to carry on with it because I started like when I was 13-ish, I used to post a lot on SoundCloud. Like there's even some songs there. I used to sing a lot. I don't really know what happened, but I've always liked music, always liked singing, making music. So I definitely want to carry on.
Fair enough. Okay. Are there any questions you want to ask me?
Um, yeah, I don't know if you've spoken about it, but yeah, so you know how you said that transition between feeling healthy, I guess,
Yeah.
and having a condition. Like, how long was it, and how are you feeling then, and how are you feeling now?
Yeah. So I mean, I think I'm a very let's just get on with it kind of guy.
Mm,
So I think the day of the stroke, I was very much like, oh, okay, I've had a stroke. Right, okay, I've got hypertension now. I've got hypertension.
mm,
Um, but again, I think very quickly from a personality point of view, I was like, okay, I've got hypertension. Right,
mm,
let's keep it moving. There are days where, I mean, if I'm honest with you, because of the fact that hypertension isn't something that has a lot of symptoms. So most people who have hypertension don't have symptoms.
mm.
I take medicine in the morning, and most of the days I'm not thinking about the fact that I have hypertension until
Yeah.
I'm reminded of a scene in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So I don't know how much of it you've watched, but it was Uncle Phil's dad died, I think,
Okay.
and he had died, and his mum was visiting, and his mum was like had a new boyfriend or something like that, and then Uncle Phil was saying to his mum like, "Don't you even remember Daddy?" or something like that, and she got very
Mm,
annoyed, and the way she explained it, she's like, "Well, of course I remember him. I remember his laugh. I remember his smell. I remember everything that he talked about and his words and stuff. It's the days that I forget
mm,
are painful." And I think we've kind of talked about it earlier. So when I'm eating now, I'm very much like, okay, let me think about what I'm eating in a way
mm,
that I didn't think about it before. I would just eat and just think,
yeah.
I'm trying to change my diet. I'm trying to eat less meat. I'm trying to drink more water. I'm trying to, eat fruit and veg so that it becomes something I'm not trying to do, and
It becomes natural.
exactly. So getting into the car, going to work, going to the shop, those things I did before, but when there's a decision to be made about lifestyle, that's when I'm kind of
Mm,
reminded about it, you know. Um, so on a day today, it's quite sunny. It's been raining, but it's sunny. I'm going to go for a walk. I might not have before, I mean, I like exercising. I like exercising when it's warm because it's nice to feel like you've done something and you've sweated and you've achieved something. But now I'm going to do it because it has another function. So it's
mm,
not just in the moment I feel good because of exercise, but actually I'm thinking I need to continue to exercise because I want to be healthy when I'm 50, healthy when I'm
yeah.
60. I want to be seeing my kids when they're 18, going just because I want to see their kids, you know.
Yeah.
And again, I think that stuff it can become overwhelming if you allow it. I suppose what I'm trying to do is not think of it in a punitive sense, like, I've got to exercise, oh, I've got to eat fruit, stuff like that. I'm thinking about it in terms of this is what life is now.
Mhm.
because I think that's why a lot of diets fail. So you go through your life, you have 3 months of hell, and then you go back to normal. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, if
Or if you actually, yeah,
if living normally got you to the point where you required a 3 months crash diet, then maybe you should change
exactly.
things
Mm.
rather than just do it at 3 month increments. So yeah, I suppose that's where I am. I've accepted things, and it's interesting though, because there's times when I have some symptoms on my left side, or I might get a headache, and I'm like,
Mm.
oh, my blood pressure must be high, and I might get anxious about it. And it's sometimes I'll check my blood pressure and it's normal. I'm like, oh, right, okay. So,
Yeah.
and I am having to pay attention to my body in a way that I never had before. So again, I might get itchy, like, oh, what's that? Oh, get symptoms on my left side, and I have to pace myself
Mm.
in a way that I didn't before. So I'm still technically in recovery. It takes 6 months to a year to when people
Okay.
are still recovering from strokes. And one of the major things is just tiredness. Actually,
Mm.
you know, I need to rest in a way that I didn't need to rest before. And if I had my old mindset, I would just power through. Whereas now, actually, I need to rest. You know,
Yeah.
um, because I don't want it to negatively affect my day to day and stuff. So yeah.
And can you still like remember, physically remember, um how it felt when you didn't need rest and you didn't need to do these things?
Yeah. Like, so there are times when, like, let's say, I might wake up and I'm like, I am doing a sense check and I'm thinking, I'm mentally going through all my body and feeling what I feel like. And I feel, okay, I feel normal. And,
Mm.
and then I move. And then I notice that I've got, you know, some heaviness on my left side or some pins and needles. Even now, I'm aware of the sensation of tightness on my left shoulder. I know my shoulder is not tight.
Yeah,
It
but you can
feels,
feel it.
yeah, exactly. Um, I mean, I'm moving freely enough, but when I move to this side, it feels tighter than when I move to this side. Um, yeah, so I'm physically reminded of symptoms a lot, but not in a way that's like, oh, as a consequence of this, then you can't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, so I think all in, like, again, I keep coming back to it, like it could have been a different story. I know
Mm.
the medical works in stroke units and stuff. Some people have strokes and that's it. Either they die, some people have strokes and they never talk again. Some people have
Mm.
strokes, they never move that side again, you know, or they can't swallow ever again. They might have to get fed through a nose tube or through a tube in a tummy. So, you know, I'm on one side, I'm still like, I thank God it wasn't worse.
Mm.
I'm also aware of the fact that I do think that as human beings, I think it's a God-given ability to deal with things that sometimes we can forget the lesson that we're learning in
Yeah.
the moment. So Manchester obviously is where Manchester is, where I live. And I remember years ago, I think 2012, it might have been before, there were earthquakes in Manchester. Can you imagine? Um, and on the first day, everyone was like, what? We're gonna die. And then literally the next day, everyone was like, oh, it's an earthquake. Like everyone, they got used to it just like
But
that.
yeah.
And I was like, it's still pretty strange for us to be having earthquakes in Manchester, guys. Like, but so like from a psychological point of view, I do think that, again, I'm not spending lots of time navel gazing and asking myself, did God send this?
Mm-hmm.
Is God trying to punish me? I'm not. First off, I think God is good, and that's my starting point. And I then work my way back to where I am from
Mm.
understanding God is good. The things that are happening in my life don't change my opinions on God being good.
Yeah.
And I think that so sometimes there is a level of self-awareness or personal development that is possible when you're reminded of a challenge that
Mm.
isn't there necessarily when you don't have a challenge. So Paul talks about the thorn in his flesh,
Mm-hmm.
and God to take it away, take it away, take it away. And the response he got from God is, my grace is sufficient for you. Now, getting to the point where understanding that God's grace is sufficient for everything that we're dealing with is fantastic. And maybe he didn't need a thorn in the flesh, but maybe for Paul, the only thing that would help him learn that truth
Mm-hmm.
is to have the thorn in the flesh. You see what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Uh,
true.
so that's the way that I'm looking at it. That there must be lessons that I can learn. Whether, again, I don't believe that God sent these things to me for me to learn. However, there are things that I can learn. There's things I can learn about myself. There's things I can learn about the nature of God. There's things I can learn about my family and see things in different ways. So let's do those things,
Yeah.
because I believe that God wants you to learn these things. And if you don't learn these things, then you might just have to repeat the class.
Go
so,
back again. Yeah.
yeah. So that's where I am, like, mentally.
Yeah, I think that's a good space to be in. Like with the lessons that we learn through our situations, but
Yeah.
conditions specifically, like there's a lot to be learned. I think one thing, in terms of the Bible, Colossians 3:23,
Yeah.
about working at things as though you were working for God. I
Yeah.
think this condition, I don't know if I would have been like this without it, I don't know. But it's definitely made me like a hard worker. Like anyone who knows me, let's say you tell me to do something, I will do it and I'll get it done. And
Mm.
if I can't, I will find a way or ask someone to get it done. And I don't know if that's because I don't, with this condition, I don't like the feeling of not having control of my body. So I
Yeah.
make sure that I control other things or whatever. But I think that's, it's really helped me with the condition, knowing that, you know what, God has given me, this is a situation he's given me, but he has given me things to do and I'm going to get them done. And like you said before, um, just like with healing is available to you and God will give you healing. It's just it might not manifest right now, and
Yeah.
that's fine. But don't give up, don't reject the healing, don't give up on it either. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm in that space.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But I also think that, it's like you're saying, I think obviously you are a mature young lady, and some of that's going to be because of what you've had to deal with. You know, there's lots of evidences that people who have challenges, one or two things can happen. The challenge can define you, and your life can be all about that,
Hmm.
or as you can use that challenge and develop yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you tell me, in your young person's lupus group, you must see different kind of personalities. Are there people you look at and you think, like, this condition is beating you?
Hmm.
And there's people you're like, actually, you are still in the driving seat of your life, and this
Hmm.
this is a passenger.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's good because when those people are like projecting how they feel, like, okay, everything's going bad,
Mm.
medication's too much, this and that, there'll always be someone else who's maybe had that medication or has been through that and can respond and say it gets better. Like, and they're not just saying it to make them feel better.
Yeah,
Like they
yeah,
are,
yeah,
they've witnessed that. So yeah, I think it's not, you shouldn't condemn that feeling, but at the same time, it's not helpful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, do you think there is a difference between somebody who hasn't walked through your shoes saying it will be all right, and talking to somebody who has been where you've been and maybe might be 6 years, a year, 2 years further, and saying it'll be all right?
I think before, if you asked me that question, I'd say there's a difference. because there is a difference. Like if you know how it feels to be tired 24/7,
Mm.
like to actually have chronic fatigue and not just be saying you're tired,
Mm.
then it feels different for someone to say it gets better.
Mm.
But now I've realized that like situations are different. And so not to say this is the same thing, but let's say someone's lost their parent
Mm.
and they're talking to me and they're saying that this feeling of sadness or worry, it gets better. They're not speaking with no experience.
Yeah.
They understand how it feels. And just because it's not the same, I can't just reject them and reject their kindness because it's not what I want to hear and it's not who I want to hear it. Like you still have to just be open to it. And yeah, it's different, but everyone is talking from a place of experience
Mm.
and kindness. So I just have to, be positive about that.
Yeah, I mean that's very wise, and I think the point you make is that your ability to receive from wherever has a lot to do with you, not just where it's coming from or who is saying it. I
Yeah.
remember when I was in A-level having conversations with people and it's like, oh, I don't like this doctor, this doctor's teacher, sorry. And I'm like, who cares? He knows something you don't know. You've
Exactly.
got
So
to pass it
listen.
down. It's a waste of time talking about whether you like him or not. Just learn it and shut your mouth. Okay.
It's true.
Okay. Anything else that you wanted to talk about, or questions you wanted to ask?
Has being a doctor, like, do you think there's anything that's helped or not helped with how you're dealing with the stroke and stuff?
Right. Good question. I think my personality is very much like, let's get on with it. And I think that's why I'm the kind of doctor that I am. Being a doctor hasn't necessarily helped me deal with it, if I'm honest.
Okay.
And I think on days when I might feel low, or I might be, in a space where I'm not coping with my symptoms too tough, or I might have the headache or a bit of heaviness, and being a doctor isn't helpful because I am aware of all the things, all the things that can go wrong. But I am aware of the fact that my mind is racing, and I am using my medical knowledge to fuel that. It's not the being a doctor that's the worst thing. It's just that I know what I know.
Yeah.
But the issue is my outlook to what I'm dealing with, if that makes sense. So like people who come in and is like, oh, I've got a headache for 10 minutes. I've got cancer. That's not to do with your symptoms.
Yeah.
That's to do with, how you view your symptoms, So I suppose, in a situation where it's bad, or I'm feeling low, or I'm feeling whatever, being a doctor, I think sometimes can be like, I can list a number of things that could be going on that I might not have been able to articulate if I wasn't a doctor. However, that doesn't mean that those things, I am aware of the fact that that doesn't mean that those things are happening.
Yeah.
And I have to quiet myself down. And I try not to be a doctor when I'm not at work. I find it's like, why? It's not, it's not helpful. But there are times when I have to doctor myself and be like, okay, well, what is the evidence for X, Y, and Z? I know, and if you were seeing this patient, the patient you're looking at in the mirror, would you be concerned? And sometimes I have to talk myself down using my medical knowledge, because there are people that I have spoken to and some colleagues and friends and stuff, and I wonder when I'm speaking to them, it's like, you're using your medical knowledge, but all you're doing is you are medicalizing your fear, medicalizing your apprehension, which is fine as long as we admit that that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
But then if you're not doing that, then, you know, we're now not having a conversation about a medical issue. What we're having a conversation was about your fear or your, you know what I mean? So, so I'm, sorry, that was a long-winded. That's
No, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Not really.
Not really.
Is there
Okay.
anything? Is there anything like you want to say in this video? Any message you want to get
Well, I mean,
across?
for me, I was wanting to find out what it's like to be somebody who is young
Mm,
but is dealing with something chronic,
mm,
and also the 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 years of when you didn't know what it was, when it didn't have a name, you know,
mm,
dealing with that sort of thing. Because I think I'm aware of a lot of people that I know of, a lot of people that I come into contact professionally, and there's a big frustration because in the moment, so if let's say, so I'm an acute physician, meaning that I am the kind of person you might see when you get admitted to hospital when it's a medical issue, but my job is to try and diagnose and fix the situation between a day or two and let you get home. If
mm-hmm.
you can't solve it, then you might have to be admitted. But there are people who come to me with issues that they've been having for 2 years.
Yes.
That is chronic. So by definition, that's not my area
Yeah.
of expertise or study. But it's also frustrating because once I have ruled out the significant things that are going to make you really unwell today, I'm probably going to discharge you because it's a chronic issue. You see what I mean? There's a place for those things to be investigated, but I can sense the frustration. Like, if you could just tell me what it is, doctor.
Yeah.
But you know, so yeah, that's really what I want.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part. Like now that I think of it, I haven't seen a physician for years because now that I know what it is, I don't really have reason to. But I think just as a young person, like it's different and it's hard. That I'm not gonna say it's not hard, but it's just like we've been talking about the way you take each day, the things that settle you, the things that settle your mind are really important. Like even now I'm preparing for uni, I'm doing things, but if I was to then think of this condition as another career or as like a big part focal part of my life,
Yeah,
then it wouldn't help, and I'd be I probably would even be talking to you. I probably wouldn't have that confidence or that peace if I made it such a big part of such a big thing in every part of my life.
yeah.
So because when I think about, okay, even yesterday, if I think about a meeting with my friends or I think about uni, I don't think about lupus.
Yeah.
Before I used to.
Mhm.
Before it would be like, I'm going out, I need to make sure I don't stay out too long, I'll get joint pain.
Yeah.
Before I used to attach everything with the lupus,
Mhm.
but just with time and all of these things, I know how to separate them and when to separate them.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that helps a lot.
What about like being a Black lady? So, have you had any experiences dealing with health services where you think, is this interaction because I'm Black? And what about just being a Black young lady in life in general?
I think I'll start with like health wise. I think my experience has been really positive because by the time they knew the diagnosis, um, I never felt like what I was saying, they weren't taking it seriously. Like
Yeah.
when I said something, they would understand. When I said I'm in pain or I'm not in pain, they would say okay. And I remember even one time I wanted to check my blood type because I remember the last time I was in hospital, like like for a week or something. They didn't know my blood type, and I was about to get a blood transfusion, and so they needed to know it. So I said, okay, next time, let me just know the blood type in case anything happens again.
Yeah.
And I remember I was working myself up. I was like, but they're gonna ask me why I want it, and then now I have to explain why I want it, and now I sound paranoid. But when I went to my consultant, I just said, oh, I want, sorry, it's getting dark. But yeah, I said, oh, okay, I want my blood type. And then he said, why? Then I said, because last time I was in hospital, they didn't know and it got complicated. And he just said, okay. And he just did it. And
Yeah.
so I think now going back to life in general,
Yeah.
I think sometimes I feel like I have to prepare to be rejected or to be not taken seriously.
Okay.
So I had that same kind of, not defensiveness, but that same mentality when I was going into hospitals and seeing my doctors. So I used to think, okay, they're not going to think that I'm actually in pain, because when at school and in real life, people wouldn't understand the pain I'm in, no
Yeah.
matter how much I'm saying it. And I think I used to think that, okay, this is just a me thing, like, but then now that I see on social media, okay, it's a thing that Black women and Black people, our pain isn't taken seriously. And even historically, our pain hasn't been taken seriously. Like, there's been really terrible things about Black people being operated on without anesthesia and things like that. And so I don't let it, I'm not defensive. I don't see everything in the view of race, but it can be hard because I feel like you either go one of two ways. This is more like me. You just stay within yourself. Like, I don't really say when I'm in pain unless it's really bad, and that's not helpful because it's just not helpful. Like, even with my mom, she said, am I okay? Yes. Like 9 out of 10 times I'm saying yes, even if I'm not feeling that way.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just have to be honest if you're in pain, if you're uncomfortable. But then you get the other side where people feel like because no one ever takes them seriously, they have to scream 10 times louder.
Yeah.
And I think you get those two extremes, especially with Black people, because we're so used to just not being taken seriously or,
Did you ever feel before the diagnosis that there were times when you were being fobbed off? Or was it obvious that something was going on that the medical professionals hadn't got to the bottom of?
I think, there were times when you could just tell that people thought, especially my mom, because she was persistent in taking me, they just thought that she was being annoying. And it was really annoying for me as well, because you're telling me there's nothing to worry about, but I have the proof that last week I was vomiting. I have the proof that when I drink fresh milk my skin goes like this. But you're still telling me it's the same thing and nothing's changing. Like, you're still giving me the same eczema ointments, whatever it is, and nothing's changed. But I don't know. I think I wouldn't put that. I don't know if it's race. I don't know if it's just them, because as we've said, it's a rare condition. Like, you can't expect everyone to know about it. But definitely, just in life in general, it can be hard. Like, just navigating as a Black woman, just hard to know when you're being you're being paranoid a bit, or when this is actually real and someone is not treating you properly.
Do you think your interactions with your regular healthcare professionals, like your GP or whatever, changed once you had a diagnosis?
Definitely, yeah. Because first of all, they knew who to send me to. It wasn't like I was going to the same person who didn't have the answers. They knew who to send me to. And I think it was just less often. Like, I have a long-term condition, but I would say that I'm now a quite healthy person, which is really weird because I don't really get colds and things like that. But when the condition is bad, we know how to sort it out. They know that I don't just go in all the time for no reason. So it's just much clearer now. And I like the relationship I have with them.
Okay. And I was just thinking about what you said. So as a Black doctor, as opposed to me, and as a Black person, one of the things that I am aware of that somebody who might not be Black may not be aware of is that, so if I have a negative interaction with somebody, there is a legitimate part of my thinking that's is it because I'm Black? Now it might not be, but the fact that
it might actually be there.
whereas if I wasn't Black, I might not ever think it,
Exactly.
So yeah, interesting. All right, okay. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I see myself working, have a degree. I don't really like this question. I don't like this question because anything can happen. But I do see myself working probably as an engineer or something to do with technology.
Not singing.
I see myself singing, but maybe I don't know if that's a profession. I don't know. I see myself being healthy, being happy.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Where
Good.
do you see yourself?
I see myself definitely healthy, definitely happy, working when I want to work.
Okay.
There are some changes I'm making right now that are going to manifest themselves, not in the not too distant future. But yeah, working when I want to work. Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, so thank you very much. I have really enjoyed talking to you. And again, I think, it's been really helpful for me to see it through your eyes. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
That's all. So, yeah. Anything you want to say to people before you go?
No, just take up my music.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about health or anything, just my socials are the same, Albertina, no E, no I. So if you ever want to talk about health or anything, then I'm here.
Actually, I did have a question for you. So two questions, in fact. Somebody who's just been diagnosed with lupus, they're young, what would you tell them? And what would you tell somebody who doesn't have any known medical issues? So two questions.
Okay. Someone who's just been diagnosed, I think listen to what the doctors are saying. If there's anything you don't know, ask, and keep be annoying even, because there will be things that will, because it's a long-term condition, there will be things that will come up in the future that you could have asked before. Like even for me, transitioning from pediatric wards to kind of adult ward, I didn't know about these things, so I made sure I asked about them and inquired, and it made things so much easier. Like the other hospital I was at wasn't working out for me, so I asked, can I change hospital? They said yes. So just make sure you're asking questions. Make sure you have a support network, you have people around you to talk about things with, because you don't have the answers to all of your questions, and you can't always console yourself as much as you think you can. So you do need people around you, and stay hopeful. And for someone who has no medical conditions, I think your health will not always be there, and you won't know when it could go. So I don't know, it depends on you. If you're gonna say God will protect me from everything, fine. But God has also given you resources to take care of yourself. He's given you the responsibility of eating well and drinking water and getting blood tests, and just to see how you're doing. So just don't be ignorant, I would say. Yeah, don't be ignorant.
Fantastic. And is there anywhere online that people who want to find out about lupus, maybe they've just been diagnosed or they have a family member, where can they go?
I think Lupus UK, I don't know the website, but Lupus UK, type in Google. it should be the first to come up. They're good. They will tell you just about what lupus is. They have support groups, as I said, fundraisers, and especially with this coronavirus, like there's been updated information because it can be so stressful having a condition and then dealing with
Yeah.
the virus and stuff. So yeah, just
Yes.
that page is helpful.
The website is Lupus UK, lupus.org.uk.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much
Thank you.
for talking to us. I'll see you soon.
Yeah. Bye.